Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. What's up? Hey, guys. Alrighty. It's that time of week. It's my favorite time of week. It's Napoleon time. I know that there are a few other Napoleon episodes on this channel, guys, that you guys want me to react to while this is still fresh in my memory, so I will be sure to do that in the next video or two, along with the next World War I Epic History TV episode. I feel like I've waited long enough, and I don't want to make it not fresh enough in my mind or your guys' mind. When we go to the next episode, let's do it. Original video at the top description below. You all know how much I love this channel. Let's start. So, should I back it up a bit?
Enemies. Next 3 weeks, Napoleon.
Alright, part 6. It says part 5, Roman numeral 5, but it means part 6. And I'm just going to go back a few seconds. So his friend died.
The French great first.
Yeah, right here. Okay, I'm going to start it from here just so everyone kind of gets a background.
The two-day Battle of Aspern-Essling was Napoleon's first major defeat, caused by his overconfidence and hasty planning. Both sides suffered heavy losses, and Napoleon avoided a much greater disaster only because of the exhaustion of the Austrian army. The French emperor had learned new respect for the Austrians. Under Archduke Charles, they had fought bravely, with greater confidence, organization, and leadership. Within days of his defeat, Napoleon had summoned reinforcements to join him on the Danube, and begun planning his revenge.
Let's do it! I'm excited.
In May 1809, the Austrians had defeated Napoleon's army in the bloody Battle of Aspern. His enemies took heart. After years of French military dominance, it seemed the tide was turning at last. 3 weeks later, Pope Pius VII excommunicated Napoleon for annexing papal land. Another propaganda coup for his enemies. But in the wake of its victory, Austria hesitated, not sure whether to seek peace or continue the war, while Napoleon responded with a hurricane of activity. He summoned reinforcements to join him near Vienna, the Army of Italy under his stepson Eugène de Beauharnais, and 11th Corps under Marshal Marmont, who'd together driven Archduke John's Austrian army out of North Italy.
John looks like a little
as
kid.
Well as Marshal Bernadotte's Saxon 9th Corps. Napoleon's army grew from 90,000 to a massive 164,000 men and 544 guns to take on Charles's army of 128,000 and 414 guns.
Pretty well matched.
6 weeks after his first attempt had ended in defeat, Napoleon ordered his army to cross the river once more. This time, his engineers had built solid bridges across the Danube to ensure there was no repeat of the disasters of Aspern.
Right, so they kind of ingeniously sent heavy barges, I think like packed with stone or something, and sent them down the river unmanned, obviously, so that when they come in contact with any makeshift bridges they're trying to make, they would destroy them. I'm guessing that these are more difficult to break.
For the French army, Napoleon declared, the Danube no longer exists. The stage was set
What a boss.
for the largest battle yet seen in European history.
They got lights on them and everything. That's terrifying. The idea of cannonballs.
July, in heavy rain, the French began crossing from the island of Lobau, not towards the devastated villages of Aspern and Essling, but east towards Groß-Enzersdorf, which was soon ablaze from French
I am never
shells.
going to stop, I don't care how annoying it is, I am never going to stop praising how amazing this channel is at portraying battle scenes and combat scenes, even to people like me who really don't know much and are learning along the way. Just so good. So good.
Archduke Charles had left only a small advance guard to delay the French. By dawn, General Massena's 4th Corps and Oudinot's 2nd Corps were driving those troops back, winning space for the French army to deploy. At 1 p.m., Napoleon was ready to begin his advance across 6 miles of flat cornfields towards the main Austrian position, an escarpment known as the Wagram, 100 meters behind the Russbach stream. As General Lasalle's light cavalry and Massena's 4th Corps swung left to guard the flank,
It also seems like there's a slight increase in elevation over here, not just the creek.
Oudinot's 2nd Corps and Davout's 3rd Corps advanced towards the Wagram. Bernadotte's Saxon Corps and Eugene's Army of Italy filled the center.
So, the common theme I see with Napoleon, the problem with Napoleon facing Napoleon, is that no matter how many people are there at the start of the war, it always seems like he has unlimited reinforcements. So let's see if that's another...
At 6 p.m., unsure of the enemy's strength, Napoleon ordered a full-scale assault against the Wagram Plateau.
Sorry guys, I'll try not to pause for the rest of the battle here.
Met determined Austrian resistance along the line. By dusk, the Saxon 9th Corps had pushed into the village of Deutsch Wagram. The Saxon infantry wore white uniforms, like the Austrians, and as darkness fell, were mistaken for the enemy and fired on by friendly units. The Saxons panicked and fled with heavy losses. Napoleon's attempt at a quick breakthrough had failed. That night, both armies slept in the open, while Charles and Napoleon planned their next moves. On the second day, Napoleon planned for Davout's 3rd Corps to lead the attack, rolling up the Austrian flank, while his other corps pinned down the enemy with local attacks. But to the Emperor's fury, he learned that overnight, without orders, Marshal Bernadotte had withdrawn his battered Saxons from Aderklaa, which the Austrians now occupied. Aderklaa was a crucial strongpoint in the center of the battlefield. Napoleon gave orders for its immediate recapture, but the French and Saxon attack failed, with heavy losses. The Austrians had their own problems. Archduke Charles, knowing he faced a superior enemy, had decided his only chance of victory lay in an all-out dawn attack. He was relying on his brother, Archduke John, reaching him with 13,000 reinforcements, in time to support the attack on the left. But by dawn, there was still no sign of him. What's more, as 4th Corps began its assault on Grosshofen, on time, 3rd Corps, which had received its orders late, was still getting into position, holding up the entire Austrian right wing. Charles had to tell 4th Corps to abort its unsupported attack until the other corps were ready. With the Austrians paralyzed by delays, at 10 a.m., Davout began his attack.
You better be on your game. Everyone better be where they are when they are supposed to be, because you know Napoleon's troops are going to be there.
Battle erupted in the village of Markgraf Neusiedl, while in the fields, dragoons and hussars fought a giant whirling cavalry battle as each side tried to outflank the other. Davout's corps took the village, though they couldn't stop the Austrians withdrawing to a strong new position on the Wagram escarpment. Meanwhile, a serious threat had developed to Napoleon's left flank and rear. Klenau's 6th Corps had driven back the outnumbered French, with some units advancing as far as Essling, dangerously close to Napoleon's vital river crossings. Napoleon urgently needed to reinforce his left flank, but he was also determined to hold back his reserves for a decisive attack. So he ordered Massena's 4th Corps to march across the battlefield and reinforce the left. A huge redeployment like this, right in front of the enemy, was high risk. So Marshal Bessières was ordered to lead a cavalry attack straight against the enemy center. Casualties were high. Even Marshal Bessières had his horse killed under him, to the alarm of his men. But the enemy was kept busy, while 4th Corps completed its redeployment and forced Klenau's corps to fall back.
Surprised it didn't happen much more with the horses, because they're such a big target. Wow. What a statement. Any trooper who isn't dead by 30 is a coward, and I don't anticipate exceeding that length of time. Wow. I haven't seen a quote like that. Like, you don't see that. That's pretty amazing.
Napoleon now assembled a grand battery of more than 80 cannon in the center of the battlefield. This was one of Napoleon's trademark tactics, a concentration of artillery to blast the enemy line and pave the way for a decisive French attack. The grand battery fired an estimated 15,000 rounds, setting light to the cornfields. Around 1 p.m., Napoleon ordered a general attack. As Davout continued to batter at the enemy flank, 4th Corps would advance on the left, 2nd Corps on the right, while in the center, General MacDonald would lead forward 8,000 men of the Army of Italy, formed up in a giant three-sided square to secure his flanks. But despite the terrible French cannonade, Austrian 3rd Corps and Grenadiers of the Reserve met the French advance with torrential fire. MacDonald's giant square was cut to pieces, its men mowed down en masse by cannon fire, and the attack stalled. But the Austrian army, battered by relentless French attacks, was near breaking.
Imagine seeing a guy just explode next to you because of a cannonball.
Every part of the line was under pressure from the French. Archduke Charles, determined above all to keep his army intact, ordered a retreat.
Especially like if he was like your boy, like you were friends. Oh, Jesus.
The Austrian withdrawal was disciplined and well executed. Napoleon had his victory. But his army was also so shattered by fatigue and heavy losses, it was unable to launch any effective pursuit. The Battle of Wagram was a brutal slugging match, the biggest and bloodiest battle yet seen in European history. French victory came at unprecedented cost. An estimated 37,500 casualties against 41,500 Austrian. 4 days later, French troops caught Austrian.
What's a standard? 12 standards and 21 guns lost.
4 days later, French troops caught up with the retreating Austrians at Znaim. As the fighting escalated, Charles knew he could not withstand the French a second time and asked for a ceasefire. But he had not consulted his older brother, Emperor Francis, who was furious when he heard the news, not least because long-awaited British support was finally on the way. 3 weeks after the Battle of Znaim, the largest amphibious force Britain had ever assembled, 35 ships of the line and 39,000 troops landed at Walcheren Island on the Scheldt estuary. Its aim was to destroy...
There's no America to root for here, but Britain's the closest I'm gonna get. Let's go!
French shipping and naval stores. But following the successful bombardment and capture of Vlissingen, British commanders let the initiative slip from their grasp. their force was bottled up by French troops on the marshy Dutch coast, where it was decimated by fever and dysentery. About 4,000 died. Many more became permanent invalids. The survivors were evacuated back to England in December. Emperor Francis, informed of the British debacle and persuaded by his generals that Austria couldn't fight on, made peace with Napoleon. In October, Austria signed the Treaty of Schönbrunn, giving up territory to the French Empire, Bavaria, Saxony, the Duchy of Warsaw, and Russia. In total, the Austrian Empire was stripped of 3.5 million subjects, forced to pay an indemnity, limit its army to 150,000 men, and join Napoleon's continental system, which meant ending all trade with British ships and merchants. Archduke Charles, meanwhile, one of Napoleon's more skilled opponents, had fallen out so bitterly with his brother, Emperor Francis, that he never held active command again.
Wow.
Napoleon had won another crushing victory, but there were worrying signs for the French emperor. His enemies were learning, while he would increasingly have to rely on young conscripts to fill the gaps left by veterans killed or wounded on campaign. Few could have guessed in 1809, but Napoleon had just fought his last victorious campaign. If you'd like to learn more about Napoleon...
Awesome, so we're done with Napoleon, guys, forever, I guess. I'm joking. I know there's more to it, obviously. You guys didn't even have to tell me that I know the story of Napoleon goes further than 1809. We'll get into those. Great video like always. What do you expect me to say? It's Epic History TV. I'm excited for the next chapter of Napoleon, whatever it is. I'll go down and see what the comments are to check out next, and I'll go check out the channel. Thanks you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. Go check out Epic History. See you guys next time.